Hey guys, it's Olivie Blake, and this is me not writing. So I'm still in the office / nursery, which still doesn't have furniture in it, so this video might have a little bit of an echo. I will do what I can. What it really needs is furniture, for many reasons, but I did want you to have a view of the wall. This is the side of the office that's for my future workplace proximity associate. Yeah, my mother-in-law was concerned that I was choosing the wallpaper before I knew the gender, but I think I did okay. So hopefully sound is okay. This will be our last video for, I don't know, probably a couple of weeks, just until the new year, just to, you know, have a little break and meditate on how things are exactly the same, but holiday flavored. So what can I tell you? I did get water today. I have also painted my nails a different color. I don't know how closely you pay attention to my habits, but my nails are basically either ballet slippers pink or licorice black. And I recently bought some different colors from Olive and June, which is local for me because they're an LA company, women owned. And I thought this would be more of a navy. I don't know how I feel about it. In other news, we also have, I got my copy of Spinning Silver. It was sitting at my local post office for over a week, so that was fun. Like I said, it's going to be a very, I think it's probably already posted by the time this is posted, but it's going to be a very, just kind of impressions, very, who was your favorite character? What did you like about it? Did you enjoy it? One of the things I really enjoy about this book is this review from the New York Times book review, which is, this book is about the quiet competence of women doing remarkable things without knowing first that they can do them, which is something that I really liked about it. The quiet competence is something that you really feel from all three of the female characters, that like they're kind of resigned to their fate, but at the same time they never actually give in all the way, which I think is, you know, it's nice to have them all be clever, but without cleverness being their main quality or the thing that like gets shoved in people's face, you know? And yeah, and I also, what I like about this book is that the villain is like Winter, which I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about The Left Hand of Darkness is the way that Winter really plays this major role about what the culture is. And I think that Winter plays a lot into mythology in general, but also that specifically that Eastern European, the fairy tales that come out of these cultures have a lot to do with winter. And so I think it's more than just the setting. It's also like this collective imagination of what is happening in winter and who lives in winter, like who occupies the winter, is a really interesting, it's very interesting to see how that gets played with. And those of us who have lived in very harsh winter climates, not where I live now, but when I lived in Chicago, definitely, and where Mr. Blake grew up in Iowa, I'm like very winded. This is how much energy I have lately. I can't even get excited about fairy tale adaptations without... So anyway, anyone who has lived in those like very harsh winter climates, it's something that you sort of have to live alongside and almost bargain with. And so it was just really interesting to see how that could be fictionalized and how often it is fictionalized and how it's adapted here. A Little Light Pining is the final installment of A Little Light Pining has posted. I'm really excited for you to read it. I hope you enjoyed the whole collection, and I really hope you enjoyed Calabrina's story, Wrap It Up. Yeah, it was such a joy to work with these different authors, and I really love that you can see kind of the way that our different styles really come through in this universe that we created together. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. I hope it brings you something, you know, a little joy. It's kind of all we're looking for at the moment, so a little comfort. Hopefully that's what it brings you. Fast forward if you don't want to hear me talk about my pregnancy, which I totally understand. I'm not exaggerating. Like it must feel like everybody is pregnant right now because it feels that way to me. Every day I like find out some new celebrity's pregnant and I'm like, of course they are. And I can't imagine how frustrating that would be if you're trying and it's not happening. And I can relate to that difficulty and that feeling of just like, why isn't this working? This frustration, like sex isn't fun anymore. I'm really sorry. You want to skip over this? Go ahead. But I am not enjoying myself. It's what I wanted. I'm obviously happy, whatever happens, whatever it takes to have, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and all the in-between parts of health. Like, obviously that's what we're here for. This is all about whatever my body needs to sacrifice in order to do whatever it needs to do in there. But, oh man, I kind of expected that I would have a lot of mood swings. Like, I thought there would be a lot of sort of like, when pregnancy is portrayed in entertainment, it's always women that are like a little bit insane, right? And for me, I don't know if it's because I'm bipolar or because of the way the world is right now, or just this is just how my body is reacting to all the hormones that are going crazy. To me, it feels a little bit like a sort of low-grade depression, like a very low-frequency depression. So, I'd like to be functioning here, and instead I'm functioning here. So, like, everything's fine, but it's also very monotonous. My body feels very uncomfortable. My sex drive is gone. I'm very stupid right now. I burned my finger a couple of weeks ago because I poured boiling water over my hand. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention. But my brain cells are not the focus right now. So that's happening. Like I mentioned before, motivation is very difficult. I'm tired almost 100% of the time. Watching my endurance, my stamina just disappears, like very, very strange. I feel like I'm not doing very much. I've also recently gotten terrible leg cramps. Mr. Blake came into me sobbing on the floor. Just because it was so painful. Leg cramps are very common for me. It's like a growing pains kind of cramp. I used to get them basically every time I got my period. I would know because my legs were cramping. And then I would just take an Advil and it would be fine, but now I can't take Advil. Plus there's the migraines. I have 1 or 2 migraines a week. So the reason I'm bringing this up is not really for you. It's for future me. Future me. I know that in a few months, your body is going to release hormones that are going to make you want to do this again, because it's in the best interest of the species, DNA, etc., wants to live forever. So I know you're going to have this feeling like maybe it was great. So you're going to remember things like, how you felt the baby kick for the first time the other day, and that was very exciting, and all you wanted to do was lay there on the couch and just feel the baby move around, because for the first time it made you feel like there was someone else in the room with you and that you weren't just like alone. And so I know you're going to remember that part. So I just wanted to remind you, burnt finger, you're stupid right now. You can't do anything. You're like, you don't want to eat anything. The only thing you want to eat is crap. So you feel like crap all the time. You miss sex. You miss wanting sex. You just you don't know where it went. It's like your energy, your husband is still extremely attractive to you, but then you look at your own body and you're just like, meh, meh. The leg cramps, the regular cramps, the headaches, the migraines. You get them all the time. All the time. And in between, you're like, I'm fine now because I don't have a headache. And then you get the headache again, and you can't do anything about it. You get your 1 cup of coffee, and that's all you get. For days at a time. So, thank you for listening to my speech to future me, but just as a reminder, future me, you didn't love this, and you probably can't afford to have multiple children in Los Angeles, so try to hold off. Okay, we're done. Moving on to questions. Okay, so this is a very long but extremely worthwhile question. I may jump in with stuff because it kind of reminds me of other things. Anyway, so have you ever had to deal with someone you love looking down on the way you love yourself? Let me preface this by saying that I have a great relationship with my mom, but this is the one thing she does that truly bothers me. So I'm super socially awkward and just generally bad at interacting with other people. This is the thing about myself that I'm most self-conscious of. But my looks have literally never been something I care about. This is great for you. I just want to tell you so firmly how proud of you I am for you to just recognize that this is not important. I commend you for that. wildly. And my mother cannot stand this because I've never even come close to the standards she'd like me to reach. She has basically been trying to get me to change the way I look since I was about 15. I love my body because it has done some seriously kick-ass things. This is a great attitude. This is a great take on this. I was a Division I athlete for 4 years, and this body enabled me to go to college, which I would have otherwise been unable to afford. Yes, I'm so proud of you. It's an honor to know you. Yes, I have massive hips and thighs. You know what's funny is that Mr. Blake once told me that I would be a great sprinter because of my massive thighs. And I was like, why would you say that to me? And he was like, no, massive, like they've got a lot of mass. And I was like, you still don't say that to me. But anyway, so yes, I have massive hips and thighs and some muscle that's less than feminine. Almost any muscle is not feminine. But I've always loved my body, and I put it through hell to play a sport that I loved and left college debt-free. Amazing. This is a hanky wave. Congratulations. Everybody has insecurities about little things, but for the most part, I don't spend time worrying about the way that I look to other people. And my mom hates it so much. Several years ago, I shattered all of the bones in my leg during a game and had extensive surgeries and was immobilized for months. This is the worst thing my mom ever said to me because I lost so much weight and muscle to atrophy, and she told me that I looked great. Never mind that I was in constant agony and had to relearn how to walk. I also worked extremely hard to gain that weight back, and it was much more difficult with my titanium reinforced leg. Oh my God, what an experience. I just can't imagine how lonely it must have felt to like have your mom not see the parts of you that you want her to see, and to have to go through that feeling like you don't really have that full support system because your mom is like happy about what it's done to you. Yeah, I can see how this would be hard to explain why it like impacts you so much, but it is so clear why it would, to me anyway. I'm also writing a story right now. Well, my latest manuscript, one of the characters is an athlete who puts his body through hell and has to go through a difficult surgery recovery, which is something I'm basing very strongly off of Mr. Blake's experience as an athlete. He's had 11 knee surgeries, 11 in one knee and 9 in the other knee. And I know that that recovery period is like very damaging to your sense of self. And especially as like a young person, as a teenager or in your 20s or whatever, that it's hard to, when you define yourself by what you do or how your body moves or how it works, or to even have that sense that of things that came so easily to then not. It's a very, it's a very sort of existential crisis of who am I? What is my identity now that this major thing has been taken away from me? So yeah, I just don't know how to explain to her that I'm happy looking the way I do, even if she thinks I'm fat. It's literally the only thing we fight about, and I refuse to let her get in my head and give me insecurities I don't need, but it's still hard to have someone I love telling me that I shouldn't be okay with the way I look. I won't even start with the fact that I dyed my hair purple and the fights that's caused. Anyway, I was just wondering if you have any advice, because I really do love my mom, and we get along so well as long as we aren't talking about what's wrong with me. I just want her to stop hating parts of me that I love. Why are moms so frustrating? Yeah, so I'm obviously not going to try to like, this experience is yours, and I am not going to try to tell you I know what this feels like, but my thing with my mom, everybody's got a thing, right? Moms are so weird because I think in a lot of ways, you can kind of understand where they're coming from. Most things that moms have like hang-ups about are just projections of their own insecurities or their own, things that they want for you because they want them for themselves. And so sometimes you can relate to that, and sometimes it's just like, okay, I see it, but get over it. So my issue is that I'm at an age where I'm pretty adult. I'm pretty adult. And, I'm still in the practice of telling my mom things. My mom and she was a single mom for a lot of my childhood. And, when I grew up with my stepdad, of course, it was my mom that I really came to most of the time. So for most of my life, my mom has been just an, invaluable resource to me. She does things like one time I had to drive a really long way. I did drive from Vegas to LA, and I was tired, and I called my mom, and she stayed on the phone with me for 4 hours. That's the kind of stuff my mom does, But at the same time, my mom's not very helpful with adult problems. she sort of hasn't accepted that I'm not a child anymore. And she does things like text me to wash my hands, or like basically every conversation we have devolves into her like giving me mom advice, but the kind of mom advice you would give a 6-year-old, not someone who's, say, pregnant with their own child. And a lot of times I do want some sort of guidance, but what I don't want guidance in is, advice like eat vegetables. Like, she asks me all the time if I'm taking, like, if I'm taking my vitamins, or like if I'm eating enough greens. She's always telling me to not eat too much salt, even though it's her. So like, she's the one with salt problems. My body is constantly cramping because I don't eat enough salt. So like, it's just not even relevant. And I tell her all the time, like, this doesn't apply to me, mom. Like, we don't have to talk about this. I'm not a baby, like, I understand what you're trying to do. I understand that you want to be my mother, and you can't accept that I'm a grown up now, but like, I have other problems. I'd love for our relationship to advance, with my age. And maybe you could be a different kind of parent to me and not really just tell me what to do as if I have no idea what the world is like. Like, truly, when she told me to wash my hands, as if I didn't already know there was a pandemic happening, it's hard. It's just like, why am I even talking to you? It feels like a waste of time. Anyway, so one of the things that I've had to accept is that with a normal person, someone who's not your mother, you can say things like, I would really appreciate, like, I understand that you want to show me that you love me, and I want to show you that I love you by trusting you with, these parts of me, my vulnerabilities, the things that I worry about, and I want to be able to have a relationship with you that's intimate. But I think that the way that you show love is not really working for me, because to me it just means it makes me feel like you're not listening to me. So I tried this, and my mom's response to this was, well, you're just always going to be my baby, so that's just how it is. And in a lot of ways, I do think that she is limiting our relationship, because now there are a lot of things that I don't really want to talk about with her, because I know it's just going to end with something crazy, like, have you drank a green smoothie today, or like some warning about not taking ibuprofen. And so there's times when I catch myself wanting to have a conversation with her and then deciding not to in the end, because I know where it's going to go, and I don't think it's going to it's just going to frustrate me. You would think that sharing that with her might change things, but I think the truth is that it won't. I think the difficult thing about parents is that their opinion of you will always matter. There are lots of times when the kind of advice I would give is just to say, this is not important, you don't need to focus on this isn't bringing something positive to your life, maybe you need to step back from this relationship. But I can never say that about your parents. Either one of your parents. They are what your entire psychological foundation is built on, good or bad. And there is something innate in us that wants to please them. And it will always be, you don't just grow into this relationship where you tell them what you need and they give it to you. You will always be their child in that they think they know how to love you. And you can try to have a conversation with them about it, but they might not listen. So in terms of advice, I really think that just like the best thing you can do is try to understand where your mom is coming from. Which in this case, I don't know much about her life, but maybe there was something she felt she couldn't do that you can do, and she wants you to have that. If it has to do with looks, or maybe, if it has to do with finding a partner or something, I don't know. It's kind of going to be sort of forever unclear. This is the sort of thing that where if you want to have a conversation with your mom about it, it would be kind of hard to go about it because they don't really want to feel like they're being psychoanalyzed. But that analysis is kind of important. I think my mom is just more comfortable being the mother of a young child. And that her nurturing energy is like she wants to be in the position of, I'm going to help you be alive even if what I want is not necessarily that. But I think that I can either allow it to continue frustrating me, that she won't change her, like the way she expresses love. And I just have to focus on what is she trying to do. She is trying to love me the best way that she knows how. And yeah, it'd be great if she could learn a new way, but that's asking a lot from anyone. You know, all relationships are effort, and most parents are not really looking for growth. They kind of feel like I've been doing this for years and I know what I'm doing, and clearly I raised a great person who put herself through college, and I'm sure your mom is incredibly proud of you and on some level understands this about you and probably envies this about you a little bit, because I'm sure your mom doesn't feel this way about her own body. And I know that empathy is sort of a trick answer where it's like, sure, I can tell you to try to understand how your mom feels, and that might help you sometimes, but it won't help you 100% of the time. There's nothing I can do to help you 100% of the time. It is, I think, one of those things where you get backed into a corner and it's just, every relationship is going to have some flaws, and this flaw seems to be you and your mom are never going to be on the same page about what what you feel she's actually saying to you when she criticizes your appearance. She probably doesn't think she's criticizing it. She probably thinks she's just trying to help you. Or this is her version of, by loving you, she is just trying to, looking out for you and trying to see the best in you. And all of those things are just going to hurt you because that's not how you see it. So I think this is one of those conversations where maybe you don't need to have it and you need to just sort of wrestle with it alone as much as you can. If there is something that you really want to talk to your mom about, and you really want to give that a try, and your relationship is, communicative enough that you feel you can share this. If your relationship, if you communicate big things often enough, that this wouldn't make your mom feel attacked, to tell her, I just wish that you would see that the way I actually want to be loved, or the way that would make me feel good, or what would make me feel like you're on my team. But it's tricky, because most likely she's going to say, of course I'm on your team, I'm on your mother, I love you, and you shouldn't question that. It's going to be challenging. I guarantee, that whatever's in me right now is probably going to have all sorts of problems with the way in which I am a mother. It's just part of it. And part of growing up is recognizing that your parents are not gods, and that they make mistakes, and that their opinions are sometimes bad, and that they are damaged by their own lives and their own relationships and their own parents. And they're just flawed human beings like everybody else. And I do want to believe that your mom has the best possible motivations for saying the things that she does. I also want to recognize that she is wrong to do that. It's so rare. It's so rare for a woman to like herself and to like her body the way that you do. And I wish she were able to be proud of that. But I think it's most likely that she has her own struggles and is projecting them onto you. So with that in mind, hopefully that's something that you can sort of cope with. I think this is a cope situation. This is, you cope with it on your own, however you need to cope with it, and then manage it when you're with her, so that if she brings it up, you just say, okay, mom, and move past it. Because there's only so many times you can have the same argument. There's only so many times I can tell my mother that I've been driving for many years and don't need to be told to stop at stop signs. There's only so many times. So yeah, I think that's enough. And that's enough for today. I hope this gets you through the holidays. If this is going to be a time where you're going to be communicating a lot with your family, then hopefully this is helpful to you. We'll probably be back first week of January, assuming people have things they want to talk about. But yeah, please enjoy the full collection of A Little Light Pining. Please join the Spinning Silver the Spinning Silver discussion if you'd like. Read the book anytime. Just because I've posted the discussion doesn't mean that like that's it and we can't talk about it anymore. You can always refer back to old discussion posts. You can answer at any time. If it's late, I don't care. This isn't something where we have to do it live. It's very asynchronous. Just whenever you want to read the book and you want to discuss it, I am just providing you with some jumping off points, hopefully. Anyway, this has been me, Olivie Blake, not writing. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Happy holidays to those of you who are celebrating. If you're not celebrating, I just still think the holiday season is great because other people are like busy and away, so you can get some time to relax. Have a holly jolly whatever, and I'll see you in 2021.